This is Audiobook Ride, and today, you're about to step into a chapter of your life that feels lighter, clearer, and more alive than anything you've experienced in months, maybe years, because this book, this journey, is about breaking free from the one thing that silently controls your happiness, your decisions, your relationships, your energy. Overthinking. Overthinking is not just a habit. It's a trap, a loop of invisible chains that tighten every time you try to escape. But the truth is, your mind doesn't need more control. It needs more clarity, more presence, more trust. And today, you begin learning exactly how to create that. Take a deep breath, and let's begin. Chapter 1: The Mind That Never Stops. I know the feeling. Your body is still, but your mind is running like a machine that never sleeps. Replay, analysis, imaginary conversations, regrets that don't matter anymore, fears that haven't even happened yet. You're alive, but you're not here. Most people think overthinking happens because they're careful, or responsible, or smart, but the truth is simpler. Overthinking happens when the mind doesn't feel safe. Every thought becomes a shield. Every scenario becomes preparation. Every worry becomes a way to prevent pain. But instead, it creates more pain. It keeps you stuck inside a world made of possibilities instead of reality. The moment you see this, you become powerful again, because you finally understand. Your mind is trying to protect you, but it's doing it in the wrong way, and you can teach it a better way. Chapter 2: The Weight of What If. What if I fail? What if they leave? What if I'm not enough? What if everything goes wrong? What if is the language of fear pretending to be wisdom. It feels responsible, but it steals your peace. It steals your presence. It steals your life. The real world is happening in front of you, but your mind is living somewhere else, somewhere in the future that doesn't even exist yet. The cure isn't to shout at your mind and tell it to stop. The cure is to anchor yourself into now, to return to the moment that's real, the moment that's happening, the moment that has actual life inside it. Pause, look around, feel the air, notice the colors. Notice your breath. You're back. You're here. This is where life is, and this is where your power is. Chapter 3: When the mind becomes your enemy. Overthinking creates a strange illusion. It makes your own mind look like a threat, a place you're scared to enter, a noise you can't turn off. But your mind is not your enemy. It's a child who grew up learning survival. Instead of peace, it learned to assume danger. It learned to prepare for the worst. It learned that silence means weakness. That's why it talks, and never stops. Not because it hates you, but because it fears for you. You don't silence an anxious mind with force. You silence it with understanding. You say, I hear you. I know you're trying to help me, but I am safe now. Watch how your inner storms soften. Watch how the noise becomes more distant. Watch how calm returns, almost like it never left. Chapter 4: The Beauty of Being Her Other is a moment, right before the sun rises, where the world feels quiet, soft, still. That moment exists inside you at all times, but you can only access it when you stop living in your thoughts and start living in your awareness. Presence is not meditation on a mountain. Presence is noticing your life while you're living it. The sound of your footsteps, the warmth of a cup of tea, the softness of bed sheets, the sky reflected in someone's eyes. These are not small things. These are the real things, the things overthinking steals from you. When you come back to the present, you come back to peace. You come back to joy. You come back to yourself. Chapter 5: Escaping the Loop. Overthinking loop begins with a trigger, a memory, a fear. a message someone didn't reply to, a decision you haven't made yet. And then the mind spirals, thought after thought, worry after worry, until you're drained. Yet nothing has changed in the real world. But here's the secret that frees you. You don't need to solve the thought. You only need to interrupt the loop. A deep breath, a walk, a splash of cold water, a shift of attention, a grounding phrase like, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm present. These small actions break the pattern. They remind the mind that the moment matters more than the fear. And every time you interrupt the loop loses power. One day, it stops completely. Chapter 6. Trusting life again. Overthinking is the enemy of trust. It makes you believe you must control everything, predict everything, prepare for everything. But life was never meant to be controlled. Life is something to move with, something to breathe with, something to trust. Trust doesn't mean everything will go perfectly. Trust means, even if things go wrong, you will still rise. You will still learn. You will still grow. You will still be okay. Trust is freedom. Trust is peace. Trust is letting the moment hold you, instead of trying to hold the entire future at once. Chapter 7. A new way of living. Imagine waking up, and your first thought isn't fear, isn't stress, isn't replaying yesterday. Imagine waking up and feeling light, clear, focused, present. You notice your breath. You feel the air on your skin. You hear the quiet. You feel alive. This is not a fantasy. This is what happens when you stop living inside your thoughts and start living inside your life. The more present you become, the more joy you feel, the more confident you feel, the more peaceful you feel, and the more alive you feel. This is the life waiting for you. This is the life you deserve. Closing chapter. Your new beginning. Overthink does not disappear in one day. It fades, one breath at a time, one choice at a time, one moment at a time. And every time you return to presence, you reclaim a piece of your life. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them, the calm behind the noise, the sky behind the clouds, the stillness behind the storm. Today, you didn't just listen to a book. You opened a door into a new version of yourself, one that feels lighter, safer, stronger, and beautifully alive. Welcome to the moment you finally came home.